You really thought we'd leave you hanging? Not a chance. Welcome back to the other half of luxury's dirty little secret, where the scams get so bold, you'll wonder why these people aren't in jail. In part 1, we exposed how crooks use Birkins and jets to hide cash. You'll find that link in the description. Now we're leveling up to the big leagues, where billionaires abuse charities, wine, and even your local coffee shop to move millions. Let's begin with the Robin Hood scam that steals from the poor to give to the rich. Number 6. The $1 billion wine cellar scam. Let's take a closer look at one of the oldest tricks in the luxury laundering world, turning cheap wine into $1 million assets using nothing but fancy labels and a few well-placed lies. Here's how the scam works. Someone buys hundreds of regular wine bottles for around $20 each. Then, using a web of fake companies and helpful appraisers, those cheap bottles magically become rare vintage collectibles, suddenly worth $50,000 each. They only need to sell one bottle at that inflated price to set the market value for the rest of the collection. What makes this scam so effective and terrifying is that the system is so easy to exploit. First, wine prices are completely subjective. Unlike stocks or houses, there's no set value. As even experts from Sotheby's admit, a bottle's worth is simply whatever someone's willing to pay. And if that someone is actually the buyer's own shell company, well, that's all part of the game. Second, there's barely any oversight. The IRS checks less than 1% of wine donations made to charities or museums. In fact, a 2023 Wall Street Journal report uncovered at least $300 million in shady wine deals linked to fake companies. And third, it's easy to hide in plain sight. Rich collectors really do spend crazy amounts on rare wines, so when a bottle like the 1945 Romanée Conti sells for $558,000 at an auction, no one even blinks. Who's to say it's not legit? A famous example of this kind of fraud was Rudy Kuniawan. Back in the 2000s, he created an entire empire built on fake wines, some so convincing they fooled the pros. But he got greedy, and that's what led to his downfall. The scary part, for every fraudster caught, many more are still out there, because in the luxury wine world, the line between a rare gem and a clever fake is paper thin. Now, not into wine? Don't worry, some criminals are turning classic cars into ATMs. Number 7. The vintage car wash. We're going to shift gears and talk about how classic cars have quietly become one of the easiest ways to move huge amounts of money without raising too many questions. Unlike wine, where a good story and a fake label do the trick, this scam uses speed, style, and a complete lack of oversight to turn $1 million cars into money laundering machines. Here's how it usually plays out. A criminal buys a rare Ferrari for $5 million. Then, by setting up a string of private sales between different shell companies they own, that same car somehow becomes worth $50 million. No red flags, no paperwork problems, and very little regulation. The reason this works so well is because the classic car market is mostly a shadow game. About 78% of ultra-rare car deals happen behind closed doors. No public records, no standard pricing, just whatever the buyer and seller agree on. And when the buyer and seller are basically the same person, hiding behind different company names, it becomes even easier to control the price. Adding to the problem, many places, including some parts of the US, don't require detailed records or titles for cars older than 25 years. According to a 2022 US Treasury report, classic cars showed up in 12% of trade-based money laundering cases. Why? They're high in value, easy to move, and tough to track. And thanks to high-profile sales, like the 1962 Ferrari 250 GTO that went for $48.4 million at auction in 2018, outrageous prices are no longer shocking. In this world, 7 or even 8-figure price tags just look like another day in the collector's market. One of the boldest cases involved a single Mercedes-Benz 300 SL. It was sold 14 times between 2016 and 2021, passing through 3 countries. Its value jumped from $1.2 million to $14 million until Interpol flagged its VIN in multiple crime investigations. Bottom line, in a world driven by image and secrecy, classic cars are the perfect vehicle for laundering millions without ever leaving the garage. Too much petrol head energy? Well, let's talk about how diamonds are a crook's best friend. Number 8. The blood diamond loophole. Let's cut through the sparkle and talk about how diamonds became one of the easiest ways for criminals to move money around the world. With just a few tricks and the right paperwork, a diamond pulled from a war zone can magically appear on a red carpet labeled conflict-free. The dirty truth is, the diamond industry is built on 3 dangerous lies. First, the idea that diamonds can be traced. While the Kimberley process was supposed to stop blood diamonds, a 2023 Global Witness report found that 40% of certified stones still can't be reliably traced to where they came from. It's like accepting a suitcase of cash just because someone scribbled "it's legit" on it. Second, the value of diamonds is mostly made up. Thanks to companies like De Beers controlling the market, a diamond that costs just $800 to dig up can be sold for tens of thousands. That made-up value makes it easy to hide or move money. And third, the certification system is easily abused. In places like Africa, rebel groups simply bribe officials to get clean papers. One investigator even said it's easier to launder diamonds than dollar bills. Look at the Kanku diamonds from Congo, sold by armed groups that passed off as ethical through fake companies in Dubai, or the $450 million in Russian diamonds that suddenly became Belgian after sanctions were announced. But if rocks aren't your thing, don't worry, there's a scam even dumber than this: NFTs. Number 9. The NFT money laundering meta. Let's talk about how the NFT craze didn't really disappear. It simply turned into one of the easiest ways to launder money right in front of everyone's eyes. Forget the hype about pixelated monkeys and digital collectibles. For some, NFTs became a high-tech shell game where fraud hides behind flashy art and blockchain buzzwords. Here's how the scam works. A criminal creates a basic NFT, maybe a silly image or some random digital art. Then, using a burner wallet, they sell it to themselves for something outrageous, like $3 million. Because the blockchain records the transaction, it now looks like that NFT is worth millions, even though no real money was exchanged. Next comes the smart part. The scammer takes this valuable NFT to a crypto lender like Nexo or BlockFi and uses it as collateral for a loan in real cash. Just like that, dirty money gets turned into a legitimate looking loan, and when it's time to pay it back, they simply walk away. The lender is left with a worthless JPEG and the scammer keeps the clean money. What makes this even scarier is how easy it is. Crypto lenders don't follow the same strict rules as banks, especially for transactions under $10,000. According to Chainalysis, about $8.6 billion in suspicious crypto transactions happened in 2023, and because many wallets are anonymous, tracing who's behind the sales is nearly impossible. Take 2022 for example. One NFT collector was caught moving the same Bored Ape between 11 wallets to boost its price by 3,000%, and then used it to get loans across 3 different continents. And finally, the holy grail of money laundering, something so dull no one even thinks to question it. Number 10. The boring business front. Let's talk about one of the most genius and shockingly boring money laundering tricks ever used. It's so ordinary, so unremarkable that most people never think twice. Criminals hide millions by pretending to run simple, everyday businesses that seem too dull to be suspicious. Here's how it works. They pick a cash-heavy business, like a car wash, nail salon, or parking garage, somewhere that takes in a steady stream of money without much record keeping. Then they fake the numbers. Maybe the business really makes $1,000 a day, but they claim it makes $20,000. That extra $19,000, it's dirty money quietly added to the till. Once they report it as revenue and pay taxes on it, it's now clean income. Why is it so effective? Because almost no one checks. A 2023 US Treasury report revealed that fewer than 2% of small cash-based businesses are ever audited. That's why one car wash in Miami managed to funnel $200 million in drug money while barely washing any cars. And sometimes the truth only comes out by accident. In 2021, a New Jersey nail salon was caught laundering $15 million only because a curious employee asked why they were claiming to serve 500 customers a day when only 10 ever showed up. So, next time you hear someone bragging about their humble business success, it might be worth asking, is that a savvy entrepreneur or a criminal hiding in plain sight? Now that you know how criminals abuse luxury, let's talk about how you can use it legally to get richer. Click next for the hidden rules of luxury, 3 items that pay you back, where we revealed the only luxury purchases that actually appreciate like stocks.